Ahmed is her mother's pride and joy. His coming into the world, however, was devoid of the joy his presence here now brings. Duba developed complications when she went into labor in mid-July this year. This family resides in Handaki, a village on the Kenya-Somalia border. A midwife was meant to have handled her delivery, but the complications were too much for her to handle. She needed an ambulance to get to the Wajir Referral Hospital. One phone call was all it could have taken to get the ambulance to her, but she couldn't make that critical phone call. A mast belonging to Safaricom had just been destroyed by suspected Alshabaab militants few meters from her aunt's home, putting the entire village in a complete communications blackout and the birth of her child and her own life in great danger.
gabadh oo eedan u ahay foolaa qabatay ambulance meel aan ka dirsadaan waay marka matatu aan saartay tantu maga aan saaray meeshan markay hal daqiiqo u socon lahayd waxay tagtay 7 saac ay tagtay gabadh meeshi ilaahay baa ii saqari ilaahay baa ii hagaaji marka alxamdulillah dib kale oo meesha nagu haysta male birtaan nagala burburna dadkayna lagu ciyaara biraha nagala burburna baa dib nagu hayaa magaaladayna jiifkayna wasiiyalkayna waa jecelnahay waa rabnaa dib kale nagu ma haysta.
She made it to hospital and made it back with a bundle of joy. She isn't the only one who suffered the effects of that attack. Abdi Abikar, the only M-Pesa agent who also operates this shop at the shopping center, literally closed business for lack of customers before the telecommunications mast was finally repaired. On 12th July at 2 a.m., about 10 heavily armed suspected Alshabaab terrorists stormed into this village in Handaki, wielding AK-47 rifles, RPGs, and improvised explosive devices. The target was very specific, a telecommunication mast that provides the vital service to residents here. When they were done, the Safaricom mast was completely destroyed, and with it, the link to the world outside this village. There were no human casualties. Whenever a telecommunication mast is destroyed at this particular place in Handaki East, locals have to endure a 45 kilometers journey to a place called Wajir East. Now that does not just come alone, it is costly for the residents because it will cost them 1,000 shillings, Bob, for a community that is struggling to raise an income. It was not the first time residents of Handaki have come under attack from militants. 3 years ago, an IED that was planted along the road about 3 kilometers from Handaki shopping center killed 3 male police officers instantly. In 2014, before the Kenya Defense Forces set up base in the area, 6 police officers and a female teacher were killed, and a district officer together with an ID card registrar kidnapped by suspected Al-Shabaab militants who also confiscated cars and an armory. The militants have also been launching mortar attacks at the 5,600 residents of Handaki East who are majorly of the Digodia, Gare, Marihan and Masere tribes. The attacks have destabilized the area. Education here is a haphazard, with only one early childhood education center, one primary school, and no single secondary school. Residents of Handaki are majorly camel herders, but also do small-scale farming of maize, watermelon and sorghum. A resurgence of the attacks, however, show a change in tact by the assailants. The specific targeting of the telecommunication masts means that locals have to seek an alternative source, so they turn to the Somalia-owned telecommunications firm.
Maana hawa watu wanabomoa hii mast, wanataka sisi yao ndio inafika hapo kwetu Kenya. Wachana hiyo 7 km, it almost stretches to 18 km interior of Kenya. So wanaitaka wabomoe hii, sisi nayo tuitime hiyo yao, of which is very expensive. Safaricom calls is 3 shillings, but it's when you're calling from Hormuz to Safaricom, it goes to 6 shillings per minute. 6 shillings per minute. So wanataka sisi tutumie hewa yao, watuuzie kadi yao. Hawana hii mambo ya money transfers, tuteseke naye.
While the Kenya company suffers the loss of equipment and revenues, the Somalia counterparts are also blaming Kenya for destroying their installations. Somalia's leading telecommunications company, Hormuz Telecom, one of Somalia's largest telecoms, has fallen victim to the attacks. However, the company appears to be blaming Kenya Defense Forces for its mass destruction in Gede and Juba regions. For instance, the content of this press release, dated August 24, 2019, obtained from Hormuz Telecom's likely Twitter account, the Somalia-based telecommunications company holds KDF responsible for destroying its masts in Auskuran, Gedo region of the Jubaland state of Somalia. The letter in part reads, and I quote, "For the 12th time in less than 2 years, the Kenya troops have detonated our mast in Askarun, Gedo region of the Jubaland state of Somalia." The letter also calls upon the federal government of Somalia and international community to hold Kenyan government accountable for the attacks. KDF responded to the allegations by stating, and I quote, "The presence of Hormuz along the Kenya-Somalia border also benefits KDF troops. It is common knowledge those who destroy infrastructure, maim and kill innocent civilians in those areas. These are therefore baseless allegations."
That is one mechanism that our enemy uses. There are many methods they use. Ni wao wenyewe ndio wanabomoa hiyo mast ya Safaricom ya Hormuz, waseme sasa waoneshe, kwa sababu hiyo mast ya Hormuz inasaidia wananchi communication at that end ya Somalia. So wanaibomoa, waseme sasa wananchi wawe na negative attitudes towards KDF, wawe enemy yao.
Wadadan wadooyinkan oo xuduudka aada kulli meel hadda aan baarha loo saxano lagu nabad qabo wadadan ka jirta midaan marmarna ay noo soo dhuntaan sidii KDF tay meeshan soo degtay iyo waqtiga hore KDF ay ma joogan aad ay kala bedelaan uqna hadda aadan ugu mirsan nimankan KDF tay meesha soo degay marka hadda si isbedelka saan in iskuurka nolol si xoojinay u baahan qabnaa.
On February 17, 2012, the United Nations Security Council Committee, pursuant to Resolution 751 and 1907 concerning Somalia and Eritrea, added Hormuz Telecom's founder, Ahmed Nur Ali Jimale, to the list of individuals and entities subject to travel ban, asset freeze, and targeted arms embargo. The UN Security Council Committee termed Jimale as one of Alshabaab's chief financiers, having served in leadership roles with the former Somali Council of Islamic Courts. Jimale is also identified as a prominent businessman and figure in the Alshabaab charcoal sugar trading cycle and benefiting from privileged relationships with Alshabaab. The report further states that, in addition to providing funding, Hormuz Telecommunication has provided key material and logistical support to Al-Shabaab, to include weapons, private fighters, and ammunition. Hormuz Telecom did not respond to our inquiry regarding its telecommunication mast destruction claims by KDF. Attempts to interview Somali citizens inside Somalia in areas where Hormuz claimed their masts have been destroyed by KDF troops did not bear fruit.
Hello, hey Moa.
As the telecommunications wars persist, the blame game continues. It is locals such as 70-year-old Keira Hassan who bear the brunt.
waxa dib ay noo keeneen dib kalmeeshan ugu ma haysanin biraha waa nagal jijibi meel aan ka hadalnaan wayne isguulada ilmaha waa nagal soo fiijil lacagta nolol soo dir lay waa wayne dadka jirin meel aan geysanaan wayne meel aan kala hadalnaan wayne marka dibkaas aan nagu dhacay bilcamaha foolanay oo dhanayaan isbitaalka ambulance aan u yeeranay waa noo gal waayaan marka dibkaas aan nagu dhacay.
They are subjected to imminent strikes from armed militants, risking their own lives and property. For them, every time there is a network disruption due to attack, it spells darkness and gloom, and only hope that a new dawn will bring an end to this menace. Seth Olale, NTV.